So the process of photosynthesis is not a fun one. It's actually really complex and full of things and bits and bobs that happen and oh my god, so difficult. So here we go. It has two stages, light-dependent reactions and light-independent reactions. The light-dependent reaction is exactly what it says on the box. It needs light to, function. When light hits the antenna complex, which is made of chlorophyll B and other accessory pigments, photosystem 2, the reaction center, spits out an electron like a pregnant mother. The electron is like an excited baby and is in a high energy state. This electron goes to an electron acceptor, which sends the electron down a series of electron-carrying molecules called an electron transport system. Imagine a bunch of people passing a baby down a line of more people, but wait, the mother, the reaction center, just had its baby stolen from it, so it has to get another. Adoption is pretty cool. So water is split into oxygen and hydrogen through photolysis. And this also leaves an electron up for grabs. Being the baby-wanting reaction center that she is, she adopts a new electron as her own, just for it to be stolen again by the evil electron acceptor. The stolen electron will travel down the electron transport chain again until it reaches photosystem 1. Photosystem 1 is like a foster father. It takes in the electron that came from photosystem 2 and holds onto it until light hits its reaction center again. This will excite the electron baby once more and send it on its way again, so onto another electron transport system. This time, the bouncing hyperelectron baby found its true calling, to reduce NADP into NADPH. The electron is a man now. Started from the water, now we here. By the way, the electron releases a bit of its energy each time it gets transferred across the electron transport system. Kind of like a baby playing with literally everything until it poops itself out. This energy is used to push hydrogen against the concentration gradient from the stroma through the thylakoid membrane into the thylakoid space, where it will create ATP eventually. When the hydrogen is pushed into the thylakoid space like a bunch of prisoners on death row, they are trapped in there, exactly like a prison. The only way out is through the ATP synthase, and they are a lot of hydrogen in the thylakoid space and very few in the stroma. So they move down their concentration gradient to join up with their homies again. When they go through the ATP synthase, it uses the energy of the surge of hydrogen going through the ATP synthase to power it, and all that does is stick some phosphate onto an ADP molecule, forming ATP. This is called chemosis. That pretty much does it for the light-dependent cycle. So the light-independent reaction is responsible for making that glucose. It uses the existent ATP and NADPH to produce glucose. This is called the Calvin-Benson cycle. There are 3 steps. First is fixing carbon dioxide. A 5-carbon chain called RUBP takes away the carbon molecule from CO2 and adds it to its collection like how a guy steals another guy's girl. The wingman here is a handy enzyme called Rubisco. With the help of Rubisco, RUBP successfully ripped the carbon from the O2 graphs. Turns out, the 6-carbon chain hates each other's guts, so they split off into 2 equal groups of 3. The 3-carbon chain is much more stable and happier, so yeah. Second is reduction. The 3-carbon chains are stable, sure, but they are really bored and low energy, so they get their energy levels up. They use a bit of ATP and NADPH, and that really gets their energy pumping. So much that they turn into molecules called pGO. Some of these pGO might leave the mainstream and be turned into glucose. They're like bad kids, turning into adults. The rest of the pGO move on to the final stage. Last is replacing RUBP. The rest of the pGO bad seeds are turned into RUBP, repeating their rebellious behavior spree that is the Calvin-Benson cycle. The pGO use ATP to break it down into RUBP, 5-carbon chains. This cycle needs to repeat 6 times to make a single glucose molecule. In 6 cycles, 12 pGO will be made and 2 of them will be used to synthesize a glucose molecule. The remaining 10 pGO will turn into 6 RUBP and the cycle repeats. Since the light-dependent reaction is used to produce ATP and NADPH, and the light-independent reaction uses the ATP and NADPH, the two need each other like peanut butter and jam, yin and yang, Phineas and Ferb. And that is photosynthesis. A lot of work just to know how trees breathe.